What's up, everyone? So today I finished the book Redemption in Indigo by Karen Lord, and even though I had a few other video ideas lined up, I just needed to be able to talk and kind of gush about this book directly after reading it. So I've now made two short videos, one that I've tried to keep as spoiler-free as possible, which is going to be this one, and a second one that discusses spoilers that I just kind of need to get out there in case anyone else who's out there has also read this book, which I'm sure there are many, and just feels like chatting about it. As an aside, just a reminder that if you enjoy this video, to like and subscribe. Redemption in Indigo is a fantasy novel, a pretty short one at that, at 180 pages, and it's written in the form of a fable or a fairy tale. Approximately the first quarter of this book is based on a Senegalese folktale, and from what I understand, the rest of the book is kind of inspired by a mixture of other different folktales and mythologies from around the world, including and especially Caribbean and West African, but also many more. And I also found that the author was creating beings that were also very unique to this book as well. So not just necessarily borrowing from other folklores and mythologies, but also kind of creating something that was her own. I would also describe this book as pretty feel-good, so if you are looking for kind of a lighter-hearted read and a quick read, this is a good one for kind of more of a kind of light-hearted vibe. As I mentioned, the book is written in the form of a fable or a fairy tale, and Karen Lord does an amazing job at reflecting that in her prose. It just all feels very organic. It felt very vividly like I was being told a story by an actual oral storyteller, even though I was of course reading this in physical form. The storyteller also frequently talks directly to us as readers and engages us as readers. And I thought right away it was clear that this author is an absolute master with words and wordplay, and it worked brilliantly with the humor in this book. Immediately when I started reading this book, as cliche as it sounds, I was just so delighted with Lord's writing and skill as an author. It was one of those experiences where you're having so much fun and feeling so much joy while reading something that you don't know how to contain yourself. I couldn't really restrain myself from stopping every few paragraphs just to kind of revel in her writing, reread passages, and just generally bask in her writing and take it all in. It was just kind of a pure delight. I'm sure you've also had this experience in the past where you can feel an author has had so much fun writing their book that it's almost like vibrating off the pages, and that was definitely what I experienced with Redemption in Indigo. For me, it was nothing short of perfect, and for that reason, I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. Moving on from Karen Lord's prose, this book starts off with the storyteller setting the scene for us and introducing us to the major players. The story is primarily about a woman named Pama. I don't think we're ever told her exact age, but based on the details that we are given, I guess that she's in her early 30s, late 20s at the youngest. Like many fairy tales, it takes place in a location that feels both like our world, in this case, kind of feels like West Africa, as well as kind of an alternate version of our world, and just in locations that don't appear to be actual real-world locations. As far as place names go, at least when I did a search, I could not find any such place names, so I don't know, it could be a failure of my knowledge, but for me it kind of felt like that storytale vibe where it's like taking place in our world, but also not our world at the same time. Similarly, the time period is not specified. There are elements that for me felt modern, while others suggested an unspecified past. So again, kind of taking on that fairy tale element of not telling us exactly when something is taking place. In the beginning, Pama has been married to an insufferable man named Ansij for 10 years. 2 years ago, Pama left him to return to live with her family in a small village called Makenda. And now Ansij, who has grown tired of waiting for his wife to come back to him, has decided to try to find her. Ansij is a very comical, very ridiculous, and honestly pitifully useless human being, and the first quarter of the book that deals with him and kind of his antics and trials and tribulations, I don't know what else to call it, is also very funny as a result. Since this book is structured like a fairy tale, Ansiege and Pama's trials and tribulations come in threes. So in the beginning, we get to sit back and kind of laugh at the three comically stupid situations Ansiege needlessly kind of brings on himself, while Pama, who has a very, very keen a sense of responsibility and desire to avoid gossip in her village, tries to deal with his drama. And at this point, she's definitely, you can tell, very used to his drama. And during this part of the story, we are also introduced to a few trickster characters in the form of talking insects and spiders, and we'll learn more about those insects and spiders as you go on in the book. But ultimately, this story isn't just about Ansiege and his stupidity and insecurities. As the storyteller tells us, this is a book about choices. About bad choices, misguided choices, mistakes with good intentions, and a few wise choices too. It's also a book about duty and responsibility, pride, self-centeredness, despair, shame, and insecurity. Also, a big part of the human experience, which is acknowledging our mistakes and how we move forward from them. We also note that there are arguably few, if any, characters that remain unchanged by the events of this book by the end of it. It's definitely a book about growth and change, in addition to choice, rather than statically good or bad character. As much as this book is about Pama, it's also about the supernatural beings Karen Lord calls Jombi, supernatural beings that she has created that also reflect other folkloric beings that exist in our world. In one interview that I found with her, she describes them as inspired by every myth, Jumbis, jinn, wood, water, earth, and animal spirits in mythologies around the world, and quantum mechanics. Imagine sentient groupings of subatomic particles and forces, but brains, not brains. And here, the first brains is spelt B-R-A-N-E-S. I should probably also note here that Karen Lord has worked as a physicist in the past. We also get a really fun main trickster character as well that is clearly a reference to Anansi folktales, as well as various other types of trickster beings that fall into the larger Jombi category. Personally, I found them a lot of fun, and really got a kick out of them. But yeah, I personally really love this book, so this next part is going to be a little bit cheesy. But yeah, I was reading some reviews on Goodreads where some who didn't like it as much said that they found it boring or unremarkable because it was just another fable trying to teach them lessons. I can't say that I really agree with that perspective. Yes, it is written in the form of a fable, and yes, it does have its lessons, as fables do, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. And one of the greatest strengths I found of this book is just the sheer brilliance of Karen Lord's writing. Like, the writing itself was its own experience. The content of the book definitely gives us opportunities for self-reflection and insights into how each of us reacts to situations of ridicule and humiliation, self-confidence versus self-centeredness, the choices we make when dealing with and reacting to our own mistakes, which for me, I don't know about for you, is a major part of human experience. But the way all this combines with Karen Lord's writing is what truly made this book special for me. It just gave me the sense of joy you get when you see a skill so masterfully executed. And this analogy, I don't know if it'll fly with you guys, but it's kind of like what I've felt when I'm watching soccer and then there's a highly skilled player who executes such a perfect kind of demonstration of athleticism, technical skill, strategy and anticipation, instinct and inspiration that kind of leads to an almost divine experience for those of us who are watching. And I know this sounds super dramatic and super cheesy, but that's actually how I felt when I started reading this book. It's kind of like watching an impossibly masterful play during a soccer game, and then looking at, there's always going to be critics of anything, and kind of wondering how they can't see the brilliance that you're seeing. It's also a reminder of how we all experience the world in different ways, and as readers, we experience books in different ways. But personally, I know that I'm really, really thankful, and I'm absolutely thrilled that I got to experience this book in the way that I did. Anyways, I'll stop there for now. I'm going to be posting another video that is going to be the one that talks about spoilers, just because I'm curious about how other people interpreted the end or what they thought about the ending. So yeah, I'll leave it there for now and continue in that video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.